What's up, guys? It's Corey, Reed River Goods. Finally here tonight with some beginner leather projects. I've been promising them, and here they are. I've had a couple questions come in. My mind is gone. I've got 100 other projects, and I've done some different videos and things, but I wanted to get back to some beginner leather projects. We're in the leather workshop tonight. No better time, no better place, so let's get it. So what we're going to do today, we're going to go through some pattern making. It sounds intense. It's not. It can be very simple. We're in here balling on a budget, so we're going to need super fancy loose leaf paper. That's how we're going to do it. You can draw a rectangle and you can make a pattern. So we're going to do that tonight, and I'm going to show you how to basically transfer it on. And once you have this thing, I've used this numerous times now, so once I have it traced on here, this will set my template. So this is just a piece of vegetable tan leather. This will give me a template from here on out. I don't have to go buy anything acrylic or anything like that. So for tonight, we're doing so this is going to be a little card holder. We'll be able to put cards in here, and this usually holds about 8 to 10 depending on how much you use. But I have what I'm gonna make it out of. I found this was also a Buckle guy. Horween makes a Major League Baseball glove leather, and this stuff smells like childhood. But anyway, I'm gonna make it out of this tonight. I think you can see I've already cut one out of there. I made some cool baseball glove one out of there, but yeah, I'm gonna cut it out here tonight. This is a 5.5 ounce leather. If you don't know about the ounces, the easy way to remember, just take 0.4 millimeters for every ounce, and that'll kind of give you an idea about how thick the leather is going to be. I prefer a little bit thicker leather. This is something I was working on earlier. This is like a 3-ounce leather, and it's just a little flimsy for what I would like. If you want that, go for it. This one's a little bit heftier, as you can see. I like a little bit of heft in there, but we are going to skive down some of these edges and clean it up some. So for our first beginner leather project, we are going to make a card wallet. So here we go. I'm going to show you some of the supplies and show you how to get this pattern made. All right, so starting with some of the supplies we need. See, first you're going to need some leather. If you're going to make it out of leather, let's get some leather. Again, I got this from Buckle Guy. There's a couple different distributors out there, and I'm going to hopefully put together a video showing some of the ones I use. Buckle Guy's probably one of my favorites. They have Horween leathers, and they got all the different sizes and colors and everything. So I'm gonna use that tonight. Remember, it's a 5.5 ounce. We are gonna stitch it. We're gonna hand stitch it. I'm gonna do one in red. I'm gonna do one in navy. I'm actually gonna do 2 different types of stitches, so I'll show you how to do both of those. But we do got some, and this is flat waxed cord. I don't know what it is about it. I just like this one. I like the way it lays in there. I never had anything returned or anything. It's a super sturdy nylon and works like a charm. This I just got in today. I had been using this Echo Flow and it was fine. I use this, it's about twice as much, but this stuff was absolute fire. I used it on a project and I really glad I tried it. I just never tried it before, so I had no idea, but I kept seeing it and I wanted to try it for myself, and this stuff is fire. If you have some sort of, I use just Tandy leather. This is just a pricking iron. I like this one because it's interchangeable, so if I only have a spot where there's 2 holes left or something like that, I can switch it out, and that sets pretty good there. And it's a 4 millimeter set, and so it'll punch 4 millimeter holes apart, and so I do like that. And they're nice big chunky holes, and those hand sewn threads can get right through there. If you have a scratching awl or something of some sort, this will go with our burnishing agent there. Obviously need 2 needles. You always need a razor. We're gonna punch in this with the hammer, so we're gonna need that. Ruler always, scissors always. If you have wing dividers, they do make things easier. You don't necessarily have to have them, but they do make things easier. And to make things even, if you have a couple cards laying around, they can help too, just to kind of fit it, make sure everything's looking right when you're getting going. And then let's see, ruler. I do have some, and a little emery board here just in case we need to sand those edges. Skiving knife, and then something to skive on would be helpful. I just have a little flat piece of I don't know what this is, marble or something. It's probably not marble, let's be honest. So anyway, sheet of paper, pen. If you can get a heat erase pen, awesome. If not, that's cool. I got a regular one here, but let's get going. So here's our pattern. Let me clean this off and we'll get going. All right, so to start this project, like I said, get a ruler, a pen, and here's gonna be your first leather pattern that you may make. You may be making them before, but anyway, this is a beginner leather pattern making, and hopefully this will be helpful to you. So we have to start with, if you just make yourself an 8.5 by 3 5/8 rectangle. All right, so you got your 8.5 here, 3 5/8. Just want to make yourself a rectangle. From there, if you can go around each edge, and this doesn't have to be perfect. This is a little over 1/8 of an inch. On each side, and what that's going to be is our skiving line. So we're going to thin this out in here all around the edges, and that's for when we go to bend this and things, we want it to be a nice kind of flush in there. We don't want it being big and chunky as we're folding here. So those are going to be our skiving lines on the edges. If you draw over, let's see, this is at 2 inches from the edge. Draw over here. And then this line here, we're going to just do a straight line up and down, 2 inches over. And then this is about 1.5 inches wide, side to side. Okay, and now this is going to be our skiving line. So I'll show you here kind of how I have it drawn out. This we're going to skive out. This we're going to skive out. So same thing here. You're going to come over, draw 1.5 inches wide, and that'll be skived right there. That'll be skived there. You can see this is the middle of it. If you're doing a money clip, you can put that little number in there. I'm gonna do, like I said, I'm gonna do 2 of them, but one of them is not gonna have one, so we'll just leave it out for now. If you're gonna add one, it's super easy to do so. So you have your edges skived, you got your middle skived here. Here, this is essentially this part. So you're going to come up 1 5/8 inches. Now this does not have to be exact. This can be whatever you would like it to be. Keep in mind, if you are covering a card here, you can have it down here, you can have it up here, you could have this straight. So we can get kind of creative with this part, but just keep in mind it is going to be covering up a card in there, and so or on here, same thing. But so you want to have the height, you know, a little bit in there just to make sure it does securely fit in there. And then even here you can see I'm only covering it about 1 inch or so. And so that can be a little bit flexible. This number here and this number here can be flexible. But anyway, I went 1 5/8 up, 1 7/8 over, and you can do whatever you want. I don't know why I made this design originally. I was just kind of playing with it, but really anything in here, whatever design you'd like, you can do a straight line too. If you'd like, that would be totally fine. And that does look nice. If you rounded off those edges, made a straight line, that can give you a beautiful product too. So again, this can be flexible, this can be flexible, and then whatever you want this to look like coming across on the front can also be flexible. So I put get creative in there. So essentially, here's your pattern right here. You're gonna cut this out, and then you can transfer it. This is where the heat erasing pen comes in handy. And I did it on here just to kind of show you what it would look like. So again, the same measurements. And this is a piece that I ended up just cutting out. Again, I kind of make this what I want right here, and then I've just kept with it for now. And then once you get it onto something like this, now this is your pattern. So you drew your pattern here, you transferred it here. Now this thing's ready to go. I've already made these, so I know that they come out right. I had to kind of trial and error make them, but anyway, here's what it's going to look like here. So we are, if this doesn't make sense, let me know, shoot me a message. I can hopefully clear it up for you, but hopefully it's pretty easy. Again, you're making a rectangle. You got a couple areas to skive, and then here you can be pretty flexible and pretty creative. Now when you're cutting out, I know we did on the grain side here, when you're cutting out, something you can do, and this is something I like to do each project, is just kind of take a look at my leather and see if there's anything I want to include or anything I want to exclude on the front. So in this one, this was a pretty piece of leather, I didn't really care. And so I just kind of picked whatever, but there are times like this, if you can even tell, but there's a little blemish right there. I probably would want to keep that off. Or I could have it cut in here, so then when it folds over, it's going to be covered up anyway. So kind of some things to think about though as you are making those cuts. So we have right here, I just transferred this over. So now all I'm going to do is again take my pattern right from there. Take my pattern and I'm just going to kind of sketch this on. I'm not even going to put on the skiving lines on here because I'm just going to kind of touch it up myself. And these do not have to be perfect. You can even come in as long as it's close. You're not going to be able to skive it perfectly in there anyway. And then we're just going to skive around each of these edges and then skive this out. All right, so as you can see, these are not even perfect, but you're not going to be able to get a perfect skive in there anyway. You don't have to go too deep just to thin it out, because remember, you are going to be bending this here and here. So if you're using a little bit of hefty leather like I am, I just want to make it a little bit easier to bend here. So we are first going to start with skiving around these edges. I do have a video on skiving and edge work and all those. If you are interested, I will attach it in the description. Come on, that's something pretty right there. Again, we are bowing on a budget. We don't have any skiving machines or anything like that. If you do, more power to you. But we over here with the $9 skiver just getting after it. All right, got those edges touched up. I do again. Man, this stuff right here. Whew. Anyway, you can see my skiving. I'm gonna fall right on there, right on there. These edges look nice. And so now all I gotta do from here is stitch it up. We only got a little bit of a stitch line right here we gotta do. And so this will be where your wing dividers will come in handy. Generally, again, I use a 1/8 of an inch. Let me see, dial me up here. 1/8 of an inch on the edge. So again, you can come wherever you'd like to here. If you want to go higher, if you have a straight line, depending on what your design is here. I'm kind of going to end right as it starts to straighten out. If you have a card, this is a good time to check just to make sure. We'll have plenty of room in there. Again, I've already made these quite a few times, so I do know that. But yeah, just give yourself a check. Make sure you got enough height, enough width. And I usually like to try to set this just off the edge. Right there. So I kind of like to make that flush, and then I'll do an 1/8 of an inch off of here for my stitch. If you have some little clips or something like that, it may help. So I'm just going to make a nice little line for me to stitch through. All right, so I got those lines in there. Now I'm gonna get my chisel here. I'm gonna start myself here, work all the way to this back corner, and then we're gonna get this thing stitched up. Again, I got videos on all of this. So this is my first, beginner leather project, and so I have videos on threading a needle if you need to learn that. If you haven't done that before, threading a needle. I have videos on stitching to give you a little tutorial on stitching, on edge work, and now this is going to be for leather pattern making. And so hopefully all these will come in handy and you can make your first little project here. But anyway, we're going to get these holes punched out and then we're going to get to stitching. All right, I got these little clips right here. These help out just to hold your project in place, and then once you're hammering down here, that'll kind of keep it from moving around. So again, I got a 4mm chisel that I'm going to start with. And we're going to get these things hammered out. Something here, if you've never chiseled before, you keeping that straight is one of the best things you can do, because especially if you do some thicker projects, as this leather gets thick, your tends to slide, and then before you know it, you're going to punch out on the side of this thing here. So try to keep Try to keep nice and straight when you are. And if you know, keep an eye when you're hammering too, because it likes to slide one way or the other. Try to keep it upright if you can, or the best you can, so you don't start to get a little sideways on it. All right, again, I got my flat waxed thread here. I'm gonna do the navy. I think that'll look nice against this little tan leather. If you haven't seen my video before, I usually do 4 times the amount so I measure up half. Oh, actually measure up whole, but measure up 4 times the amount of the actual distance, and that'll give me how much thread I need. And I still usually, I don't think I've ever run out on my project, so that gives me plenty every time. All right, we got her stitched here, and that's gonna look real nice. Put your cards in there. Get your money in there if you want, whatever. You fold it up. Again, these hold, depending on the kind of thickness of the leather that you have, you could stretch 8-10 cards in there. And then especially with leather, it's gonna stretch anyway. So yeah, I easily got 4 in the front little pocket right there. And this is a pretty flexible leather too, so and if you're only carrying a few, it also holds those well. But these are great, man. Summertime, I live in the South, and instead of having a wallet, I do love big chunky whatever wallets, but these are super nice, especially if, you know, I wear basketball shorts 90% of the time, so works out. But what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna basically cut these edges off just to round them off a little bit, hit them with some more burnishing agent, and this thing will be a wrap. So hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope you can make your own pattern, and now you should have yourself a pattern that you can replicate and get creative. Use different colored threads, different leathers, and this is a great item, if a leather item that if you want to try to sell some things, it's a great little thing. This is great for gifts or great for yourself. So I enjoyed this first beginner leather project. I hope you did. Let me know if you got any questions. Have a good one.